Just to introduce myself very briefly, Patrick Cullen. I'm just with the company since the middle of August, so a short time. I've just spent 20 years in South Africa in mining and exploration in sub-Saharan Africa. I've returned to my native Ireland, and I'm the CEO of Connemara Mining. We're an exploration company, not a mining company, just make that clarification. And we're here to explore the rich zinc and gold potential of Ireland. A snapshot for us, we're active. We're an active explorer. We've been busy. We're currently drilling. We've just started drilling yesterday, in fact, on one of our gold prospects. And we have a lot of activity in the pipeline. We're working in Ireland exclusively. All of our licenses are in Ireland. And we see Ireland as a particularly favourable jurisdiction. I'll get into more detail about that as we go on. The board is headed up by John Teeling, who's a very experienced and a very successful mining entrepreneur. And we've also got some, what I say, fresh boots on the ground. That would include myself and a technical director, Gavin Birkenhager, who was appointed earlier this year. And we're really starting to get busy. 35 prospecting licenses in Ireland. 4 zinc projects, 2 gold projects, and we're drilling. This is just some of the corporate information. We have some 87 million shares outstanding and some warrants, as you can see here. It would be great to capitalize on those in the near future. There's a 6-month price chart. We've had quite a bit of activity in the recent month. Some profit taking clearly in the last few days. That's yesterday's price. It's the same today. And just talking about our shareholders, half the company is held by 10 shareholders actually. There's about 300 shareholders in total. So we're tightly held. We've had some new shareholders come in. Paul Johnson, who's here tonight, and friends and family, the directors. The directors have been continuing to fund and to work on this. Talking about that management team, some of you will be aware of John Teeling. He's been involved in a number of resource companies, notably African Diamonds, and this Connemara Resources, that's ilmenite in Mozambique, Minco, who've just done a deal with the Dalradian Gold Project, some of their royalties there, Andean Resources and so forth. Jim Finn, his right-hand man on the finance side, is 20 years with him and 20 years in the business, very experienced. We have Vivian, Byrne and Dinesh who've been in Ireland, 40 years experience running geological consulting companies. So vast experience. And then myself and Gavin. I'm the management. Gavin is a board member. I'm not a board member. I'm 20 years in the resources. I started with Schlumberger. Got into 3D seismics, moved to South Africa with Anglo Gold, worked for Anglo in platinum as well, and then on some big projects and some big mining projects. I've kind of come through things a bit differently than from exploration into mining, but nonetheless, and then went into Africa with uranium, coal, iron ore, phosphates. Gavin's young Scottish geologist who actually worked on Dalradian project in Northern Ireland. It's a big project. He's been exploring for gold in Scotland and in Ireland. He's got base metal experience in Ireland, working for some of the majors. So our strategy, there's been a huge influx of explorers into Ireland in the last year. We want to be one of the top, not the top explorer. We have joint venture partners. We want to be one of the joint venture partners of choice, seem to be active, and certainly we believe Ireland as a zinc province, and I'll get into details later. It's certainly one of the largest producers in Ireland. It has a long history of producing zinc. Zinc is very hot at the minute, and the demand for zinc and the shortfall looks likely to extend into the future. We're very low cost, flat structure. We have a balance of our own 100% and the joint ventures, the bigger, deeper projects that we need to get funding to drill on. We have a vast knowledge of working in Ireland, particularly, and of course success elsewhere. And yet we're also alert to emerging opportunities in Ireland. There's other things happening. We're reviewing our opportunities in some of the battery metals, lithium particularly, but that'll come in time when we've got more to say. So we're diversified. Why Ireland? So some of you will be familiar with the Fraser Institute. They put out they rank the various jurisdictions in the world, and Ireland comes in third. It's always been first, second, or third in Europe for a number of years. Stable jurisdiction, favourable tax regime, skilled workforce. As a zinc province, Ireland is one of the most productive zinc provinces in the world. Most zinc discovered per kilometre squared. Second in lead. Lead is associated with zinc in the Irish-style deposits. High-grade ore bodies, which I'll show you just now. Clean metallurgy, and all the big players are there, have been there or are there. Boliden is at Tara. They're going deep. They've just announced another 20-year life of mine. That's their objective. Glencore are drilling again at their flagship Palace Green deposit. We're very excited about that because we're right next door to that on one of our projects. Vedanta are finished now. Lisheen and Galmoy have closed, but they still hold exploration ground. Importantly, in Ireland, in Northern Ireland, there's two gold projects that are. One is an active mine, Galantas mine, and then there's the Dalradian Curraghinalt. That's joint listed on TSX and AIM. Dalradian is a very important deposit now, 640,000 ounces reserve, much bigger resource, and notably 11% held by BlackRock, a big fund out of the States, which you'll be familiar with. Right, so map of Ireland, just to give you an idea where we are. We're in Inishowen drilling today, up in the top there, and that's for gold in Donegal. We've got gold projects, and Mine River is a historically very prospective ground for gold, and we've got geophysics, we've got soil sampling and historical drilling that makes a case for good gold targets there. On the base metal side, we have our flagship project, I suppose, Stonepark, which is next door to Palace Green in Limerick. We have a joint venture with a Group 11 Resources, a company that's about to list on the Toronto Stock Exchange. They just paid cash and made some NSR, some net smelter return agreements with buyback options with Teck to take that ground from Teck. So we sit with just over 23% of that project. We were offered the same terms, substantial cash, 640,000 Canadian. We've decided to sit on this for some time and see what Teck's going to do. We're very excited to have a joint venture partner coming in with ambition. Oldcastle, we sit with Teck. They're still earning in on that license, and we expect them to fulfill their expenditure commitments there. Derry Kern is a new project we've acquired just 6 months ago, the end of March. 5 contiguous licenses and another license that we had to the south. They're just immediately to the east of Lisheen and Galmoy. These were very productive mines just in recent times. All of our projects on the zinc are in proximity to existing mines or known deposits. So there's nothing greenfields. Some of these projects are advanced, such as the Stonepark. It's got 135 holes drilled on it. Others less so. At Derry Kern, we're specifically looking at some new targets, and I'll get to that now. Okay. So the overview, the 19 licenses for zinc, 16 targeting gold, and I've just been through those. So why zinc? Well, a lot of you will know that the zinc prices are at back at levels that we haven't seen since 2007, and that there's tight supply. That's what's driving this current price. Most of the experts on this are informing us that this supply situation is going to prolong. One of the main reasons is that zinc exploration has been neglected for some 30 years, and then there's no major projects that have come online yet. And then, of course, 7 to 10 years ago, when they could have been bringing projects on and into mines for now, that's when the global financial crisis hit, and so there was just a lack of investment altogether. Now there's a rush everywhere. The numbers say it, 83% in the past 2 years, up 83% compared to aluminium, lead. Lead's a good story too, don't forget. Lead's solid prices, and lead is associated with zinc in Ireland. I've listed these in scale. Navin's going, that's Boliden, the Swedish company. They're a vertically integrated group. They take their concentrate to Sweden and they refine it there. They're extending. Lachine, Silvermines, Tina and Galmoy are all closed. Pallasgreen's the odd one out. It's not a mine, but it's 42 million tonnes, so say Glencore, at 8%. But Glencore don't report to a public stock exchange, so a lot of people will think that it's possibly larger, and we certainly we've got grades that suggest next door that are a little bit higher, so that possibly is the next mine. So I think we have a very strategic asset at our Stonepark project. This, speaking of the devil, so there is the it was Extrada, now Glencore. That the red spots outline their deposit. Ignore the geology, it's quite complicated, but there are 3 main ore bodies that have been drilled out in Stonepark, north, west and south, or the Stonepark original. And we'll see what Group 11 Resources do. They're planning a listing in the next month or so, Toronto. So we're sitting with our 23.44%. We calculated the value, in terms of buyback options and the value of the offer at about 2.3 million Canadian, 1.7 million pounds. The way the market is now, it makes sense for us to wait and to see what activity they plan and what we can expect for the future. Oldcastle, a joint venture with Teck, 2 major areas. There's been a limited amount of drilling, and we wait for them to fulfill their joint venture commitments. They're deep targets. They're like 900-meter targets, 900 meters deep, which is currently where Tara, for example, are mining. But if you look at the extension project at Tara, it's actually they're coming away from the existing ore body, a long drive about 2 kilometers at 1,000 meters underground, and they're planning to mine down to a depth of about 1,900 meters. So things are going to go very deep in Ireland, and the zinc price, obviously the big zinc majors believe that the price is robust enough for them to make those kind of capital investments. Recently in London, you've just had a big deal done on a Macedonian zinc project. So for the first time, there's an actual, on AIM, there's exposure to a zinc mining project. There's very few companies such as ourselves on AIM that offer any exposure to zinc. Derry Kern, this is the new ground I talked about. There's this historical drilling, but they went for a primary target, a shallow target, 125 meter target. There's another target beneath, and that's what we're interested in. It's about another 170 meters, so it takes us to 350, 400 meter target. But at today's prices and these kind of prices, those sort of depths become accessible. So we've done a compilation of historic data. We've got a load of data, but we need to probably put some holes in. We're talking to people. We might get some joint venture going there. This is that area looking south. So this is the surface is up here. There's a series of faults. This is what they were drilling. They found it to be sub-economic, but we believe there's another target deeper. There's just cross section from north to south, just to give you an idea of the depths. But this is 120. This is 250 meters, so not particularly deep. We've got some zinc in the south of Ireland in West Cork. There was a barite mine here in the 1800s. We picked up 2 licenses, very low expenditure commitments. It's not a major focus. Gold, I've put the gold price at the back there. It's from 2007 end to now. It's sort of recovered after the 2008 global financial crisis. We say, why gold in Ireland? Resurgence in resource nationalism. This is a key. There's a lot of gold companies now, gold mining companies are focusing their efforts in the Arctic Circle, in Sweden, in Finland, in Canada, and less interested in going to Africa, into Asia, other parts of the world where governments are starting to talk about higher royalties and taxation and difficulty. Even Greece, for example, there's people are struggling to get jobs done. We've got highly prospective licenses. We've had a discovery in 2016 drilled, where we're drilling again now at Inishowen, and then the Wexford, the licenses to the southeast. They're strata-bound, no major grades at this point, but high grades over short intervals, but nonetheless something that looks to be strata-bound, so very interesting. Historically, Wicklow produced a lot of placer gold. There was a gold rush there in the mid-1800s, and the source of this gold has actually never been located, so it's one of those, everybody's still looking for the source of the mine river. I mentioned Curraghinalt, that's the Dalradian project, 60,000 ounces reserve, millions of ounces in resource. Mine river, we've got the cluster of holes, that's what I was just talking about, 12.5 grams, 20 grams, that sort of size, and we've completed a magnetic survey. Currently we have a joint venture agreement with a company, Hendrick Resources, private company, very respected and successful explorer, prospector out of Canada, but he passed away recently, and we're looking to reverse the joint venture, and we're actually we're in advanced negotiations to take over some of their ground, and that's in play, and we're hoping to announce that all being well. This just gives you an idea of this is the magnetics, this is this linear play. It's about 12, 15 kilometers in total we could look at of prospective ground, quite a significant piece of ground. Inishowen's where we are now. We basically, Gavin Birkenhager, he's worked on Dalradian project. He came out of Dalradian and he picked up some ground in Donegal, and he came to John Teeling at Connemara. Basically, he's been looking for the same rocks, the same sort of mesothermal vein-hosted gold as they have in that project. And he picked up some ground initially. Some of the ground he picked up we've dropped, but he got a discovery he picked up on at the Inishowen Project, and he thinks it's the green member. We've mapped it, and so we've picked up that entire geological formation on the peninsula. I'll show it to you now. So this is it here. So this is where the discovery holes were, and this is about 30 kilometers from top to bottom, and this is the green bed, the green member formation, and so we've just basically grabbed everything there, and so we're looking to part of the drilling program now is just to basically sort out the geometry of what we've drilled before, but also we're going to go a little bit further out, do some more prospecting while we're there. We're going to collect a lot more structural data that gives us a better idea of how to explore this piece of ground further. So that's Inishowen. That's where they're drilling now. They just finished this hole yesterday. They're moving to this hole today. Well, they finished this hole today, sorry, and they're moving tonight, so they'll start on P2 just now. Highlights. So we've been busy, I believe. We've added the additional zinc project. Zinc projects are very hard to come by in Ireland. I can tell you there's Australian and Toronto listed companies that have picked up most of the available ground. We've increased the size of the Omagh Gold Project in April, end of April last year, from 5 to 11 licenses, just explained. We've attracted investment from new shareholders. We didn't have any shareholders really on the UK side. Paul Johnson's the notable one. I've just met a few of our shareholders here tonight, and we're going to be promoting the company in London. That's primarily what I'm here for, just to introduce us initially. We've compiled that historic data from that zinc project at Derry Kern. We appointed new leadership, myself and Gavin Birkenhager. We've raised 200,000 cash from directors and from some of the existing shareholders. We've got a new joint venture we're very excited about, and we look forward to them listing in Toronto and coming with some cash to the project. We've advanced negotiations, and we've begun the next phase of drilling. The next 6 months, we'll be reviewing what we've done at Inishowen. We'll finish the negotiations for the ground, to extend the ground in the southeast of Ireland. Evaluate the Mine River potential for lithium. This is something, we have a big lithium project to the west of us, Chinese funded project, Canadian listed lithium, International Lithium Corporation. Spent $1 million from Jiangfeng, the world's largest lithium battery manufacturer. They've got a nice piece of ground and some known historic lithium. We don't believe that the lithium has been explored in the area that we are really to date, so we'll definitely be looking at that carefully. We'll raise our profile and market to investors, attract new investors, hopefully some of you people here tonight, and then we'll continue to evaluate our strategy. We'll seek for perhaps more focus going forward. And why Connemara? So experienced, active. We've got exposure to zinc, which is difficult for a London investor at this early in the game. And we've got exciting gold projects in an Irish jurisdiction. That's my presentation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.